Guess who's back? Galvin recalled and set for an intense reception at Leichhardt Oval, Gordy. Back into the team.
Yeah, smart decision. Obviously, last week with all the emotions around, put him back, just to stay away from a bit of noise. But he's back in, and hopefully he does well, and in front of his home fans, I think, which is a little bit better.
It's a circus, though. We went through all this pain last week. Well, we had consultations between the coach and the senior players. They made the hard call to get him out of the side because he wasn't buying into the club culture and this one club approach which they keep thrusting upon us. And 5-6 days later, they've now gone back to where we were in the first place. So what was all the pain for?
We've started off on a bad foot, Dog, because I don't agree with what you said. I think last week they had no choice.
But what's changed?
Well, a lot of things have changed, mate. Last week there was all the emotion, there was the media intensity and the microscope, the players who were obviously upset. Galvin probably wasn't in the best headspace to be picked. I think this week it comes down to the fact, do the Tigers want to play semi-final football this year? Do they want to win games? If they do, Lachlan Galvin is in their starting team.
How does training work this week then, given the circumstances? Like, how do you, as a head coach or even as a teammate, like, how does it work? Gordy, I'll come to you as an ex-player, and we sort of spoke about it last night. How does it work? I mean, how are they going to get through the week and prepare for this properly?
I never liked all my teammates. I didn't have to love them, but you've got to respect them and trust them, and I think that'll be the job for Benji Marshall this week, and I'm sure the senior players should walk over, and it's a reception, I think, of it's the senior players' job to walk over to the young kid and put their arm around him.
Gordy, you didn't like some of your teammates, but they didn't go on social media, you didn't have it back then, mind you, and have digs at him, and they didn't go to the coach behind your back and say, we don't want you in the side. So it's a totally different scenario to what you went through, and I just can't work out how this bloke can possibly be in the team when his teammates have been so publicly and vehemently against him playing.
I think when I looked at what Jerome Luai posted last week, team first, to me, I didn't see that as bullying. I saw that
but
as...
But it was a dig at Galvin, wasn't it?
No, I saw it personally as a mark of respect for his coach. He was standing up for his coach who'd been criticised, and he said, if you disrespect our coach, you disrespect us. In that instant, I really believed what Luai did wasn't bullying, it was standing up for his coach. But now as the team leader, he has to pull these blokes together. And if he truly believes, and I wrote him a column today, if he truly believes in team-first culture, well then that's about bringing this bloke back into the team and finding a way to win football games. As a leader, he has to find a way to make this work.
Braith, it's a better question for you, because I was in the forwards. I just had one job to do. You got to run the team and bark them around.
Yeah, it's a big job for Jerome. I just can't imagine it. I cannot imagine it. I said last night, I know a lot of people like yourself, Crawls, and some highly respected people said, you've got to play your best team, you've got to get him back in, you want to make the finals. But the most successful teams are the ones that get along the best and have the best culture and camaraderie and love each other. Like, you don't win premierships not liking the bloke next to you. And like, again, I said it last night, he's actually suing him. He's suing the club and it's for the actions of his teammates.
Do you think that he'd be back in the team if the legal letter wasn't sent?
Well, I was at Lidcombe Oval yesterday for that New South Wales Cup game, and he had a modest performance at best. He defended on the left wing, a couple of kicks here and there. His side were well beaten, to be fair.
Were you the security guard there?
I was, actually, yes. That's why no one got through him.
We couldn't see the face in the air.
Yeah, well, that's why.
1-2 down Main Street.
In disguise. But he wasn't brought back based on this game. So it wasn't through merit or form. So why was he brought back? Is it due to these legal implications?
He has been in good form throughout the year, though. He has. And
but Crawls,
you said it yesterday, Braith, though. I watched the show last night, and you said last night, would it have been a different result if Galvin had played? And I guess that's the question that you asked. Yeah. Could it have been a different result? Like, they were good.
Watching that form, you'd say no, because the week... Look what it's done to Daly Cherry Evans at 37.
And that's a question mark too, Gordy. Look, no one knows the true answer, and I'll tell you what I'll also find interesting when they play on Sunday is watching the interaction between the players. Like, you know, you see all the players, if someone does something good and they all come diving over the top of each other,
no, players
how will they treat it? I remember years ago...
It's the fans that the players will be worried about.
But will the players... Remember when Cherry Evans was going through his dramas at Manly and that, and he was playing with the Stewart boys and Watmo and that, And there were moments on the field where you could dead set see the tension between them, especially when DCE might have done something good. And I'll be interested to see what the reaction is on the weekend.
I think they, like going back to the game and the reason why they lost, I think they would have been better off playing Luai at 7, you know, and controlling the whole game and kicking the majority of the kicks. I think, you know, Dewey I don't see him as a 7 at all, a 6 at best. I see him more as a centre, and I think that cost them a couple of his short kicks and game management in big moments. You know, if Luai had have just said, you know, you've got the team, you've got the ball, take us to where you want, and be on the ball 24/7, I think they would have maybe even won that game. But just Taruva, like you talk about the players and the posts and all that, he let the emotion get the better of him on Monday. That was obvious. How's he going to deal with this week? Yeah, you could tell that he had a bee in his bonnet about, I don't know, was it about Galvin directly? Was it that they wanted to prove everyone wrong and prove everyone that they could win without him?
He's been lippy all year, Braith.
But, oh, come on, like...
He's been
he did.
Just on the field, just being lippy and
but he has that in him.
This went one step too far.
It did. And the emotion did get the better of him. I see what you're saying, I really do. And the camaraderie amongst the great teams, you know, that's what makes them very special. But I do think in this instance, like, I think the Tigers fans have been through so much in recent years that if anyone can pull them together, it has to be Jerome and Appy.
Yeah.
Because Benji, like, they backed the coach last week, and if the coach has made a call this week to bring him back in the side, surely you've got to back the coach, do you?
So with this legal stench in the air, what about at training? What about if there's a G-up? What about if they have a dig at Galvin for dropping a ball? Any little side issue that the players say, is that now going to end up as evidence? Is that over the top? Is it possible?
Yeah, they'll be on eggshells.
Well,
They'll be on eggshells.
Yeah.
And will they be told, no matter what happens, to keep your mouth shut around him?
They couldn't even talk in the press conference.
There you go.
They couldn't even talk. Now, as I've said the last couple of weeks, his management has been agitating for an early release. Well, I think most people, if you put 2 and 2 together, then that's what it seems to be. What's going to happen next? Will the Tigers stay strong here, or will he get his release?
I think the Tigers... I think most people in rugby league are hoping the Tigers do stay strong. Look, we are only surmising...
When you say most people, is that the other clubs?
You talk to people from other clubs.
Yeah.
And they want to see the Tigers stand their digs on this. They want to see it through. And I truly hope they do. We don't know. Like, we hear second-hand information. No one truly knows, other than the agent and the officials at the club, what's going on.
I'm hearing out of the Tigers today that they're going to dig their heels in.
And if they've done nothing wrong, if these claims are bullying, like, you have to look at the definition of bullying. The definition of bullying is repeated intimidation or using tactics to bring someone down and cause distress. Is what we saw last week, that's not the definition of bullying. These are one-off incidents. So has this been going on for some time?
Just because you don't like a post, it doesn't mean that it's bullying.
It's not bullying, mate.
Just because you don't like someone's actions, it doesn't mean that it's bullying. But I hope, and I've been strong on this, I hope that every club and the game, like I hope the NRL stand behind the Tigers here.
Well, the Tigers have to...
The
Tigers owe it to their fans too, Gordy. Like, if they have done nothing wrong, then they have to see this through. And if there's going to be a court case, which I don't believe will get there, but if there's going to be, they have to stick by him. If they've got this kid for $300,000 for the rest of this year and the rest of next year...
Because they did a good deal.
You keep him.
Absolutely.
But do the fans want him there?
That's a good question, bro.
Because, like,
I don't think
again, on socials with just through contact to me, through the Tigers fans, there's a lot that don't want him there.
I tell you what, if he goes out and plays really good this week, they will want him there. If he plays no good...
Yeah.
That's judge, jury and executioner in rugby league. Winning.
That's winning.
I think
we
all want him to stay there and play well and the Tigers succeed. You don't want him...
Look, he's got a contract and I'm all for a contract. We should always honour contracts. It's one thing we don't do well in rugby league. But if he doesn't want to be there, the players don't want him there, he's suing the club, for goodness sake. What is the point of keeping him there? What is the benefit
to improve?
How do you know the players don't want him there?
Gordy, they got rid of him last week.
Hey?
But
he
met
signed
with the
contract,
coach
just fulfil the
and
contract.
in consultation they said, we don't want him in our side.
I think this week will tell us kind of where he's at and where the team's at. Like, if he responds well this week and goes out there and plays really well, they get a win, and you can see that they've kind of mended it a little bit, then I'm willing to lean on the way of definitely keeping him, you know, because, you know, you watch that game on Monday, they could have won still, mind you, but you watch it and you see how frustrated the players were, you see how the emotions got the better of them, you see the fans, and you can see their season falling away off the back of this. Like you can. Like, this is a big drama. It's exhausted a lot of energy. And we talk about the Tigers and how far they've come and the start to this season and the promise that it showed season 2025. And you just don't want it to crumble. Like, and that could happen, you know, either way here. But, like, which... I don't know.
Would they be a more harmonious club without all the media scrutiny and all these headlines which we're flashing up here right now if he left the club? The answer is yes.
It might take that away.
And this club's been a punching bag. They've been at the bottom. And if you don't stand for anything, you'll never stand for anything.
But let me tell you something. The media and the speculation and, you know, because if he leaves, it doesn't go away. The media, the headlines don't go away. It'll be then life after. Then it'll be pressure on Benji if they're not performing. Then it'll be who they're going to buy next. How do they fill the void? Like, this ain't... And they've got 3 wooden spoons in a row. Like this, they're used to headlines, but the headlines aren't going anywhere.
And that's the other thing in this when we talk about Benji bringing Galvin back, because his career rides on this too. Like, he's been dragged down in the gutter in recent days. The allegations and the claims against him as, you know, not being a good coach for this young guy, like, that's a real attack on his credibility.
I feel for him.
And he's been doing a really good job this year. The team's been playing well. But you know what? If it all fall apart now, Braith, you're 100% right. That becomes the next storyline.
The only guy that can
is the coach's career. So why would you, even on the weekend on Monday, when they lost to Parramatta, and are you saying that you're then going to give Parramatta a gun player to make them a better team and make your club worse?
Because if you work at an employment place, you don't want to be there. Your colleagues don't want you to be there. But yet other people are saying you should stay. You'd be saying, screw that, I don't want to be here. It's better for everybody if I move along.
I think if the Tigers were in a position of power and they were a successful, strong club, you'd probably maybe consider that.
And the Tigers should get something in return.
But I agree with Gordon on this.
They should get something in return as well.
I agree with Gordon. If you want to stand for
Galvin.
something, mate. Stick to this.
Mate, they've been walked over, what is it, 8 players or whatever, Teddy, all those guys. It's going to keep on happening. When are the Tigers going to stand up for their fans?
And you know what they get in return? A $300,000 player.
Yeah.
No. And they've got one now that's probably worth... I think the money was too much. I think he's a $600,000 player. And the only one that can turn it around, in my opinion, is Lachie Galvin. If he goes out there, kick chase, if he rips in, the team will go with him.
It's a fascinating one. Watch this space. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, the Bulldogs are no longer in the race. Does this mean that the Parramatta Eels are $1.01?
Well, that's certainly the mail through rugby league. I think you'll find a few clubs have already come forth, Braith, as you say, saying we don't want him. Manly, the Bulldogs. I'm never quite sure with Gus.
Yeah.
You know, he's the master manipulator. He has said publicly... Why have they pulled out?
Because they don't want this to happen to them?
Possibly. Or they don't feel he would be a fit at their club positionally. But I'm never quite sure with Gus. But certainly Parramatta is the club. Jason Rolls has gone on the record yet again on Fox League yesterday saying we want him.
I said last night the Dogs were interested because I'd heard that they were, and even after the show last night I had a few interesting texts saying that they definitely were interested, you know, from very good sources. They were interested, but I hate to say it, but the reason they didn't was because of the situation and the management. That was what I heard.
So are you suggesting that the Bulldogs don't want to deal with Isaac Moses?
Well, mate, read between the lines, Bulldog. That's pretty much what I just said. And I don't, like, again, it's not me targeting him and his management, but that's what I heard. And that's from good sources within the club.
There's also the stain now, and you can't deny this, there is a stain on Lachlan Galvin's reputation as a result of this. You would imagine, like we talk about his own teammates.
Or is it more on Isaac Moses
but Doggy, we talk about his own teammates.
The kid suffers.
Perhaps not wanting to play with him. If he goes across to the Dogs and you've got guys like Stephen Crichton and Matt Burton and that who would have been mates with Luai and Turava at Penrith, does that go with him? You know, does that go with... And I reckon it does. It goes with Lachlan Galvin for some time. What's happened here?
Does his manager have to walk around with a security guard?
No.
But he put the young kid in a situation where he's going to play rugby league and he needed a security guard. The last young kid of I've witnessed in my short time in the media to have a fallout with the senior players is Jackson Hastings. The last guy that's got there, a bit more of an ego thought, the Roosters, he's fallen out of all of his clubs, and where is he now? I hope this doesn't smell in this kid. And do you know who wears that? Jackson Hastings. The kid wears it, not the manager.
Fair point.